The human space station Orion outpost drifted silently in the darkness of an uncharted star system. Its white hull reflected the distant glow of unknown stars. Inside, the crew worked quietly, monitoring sensors and scanning the empty space around them. Humans were not supposed to be here. Most of the galaxy thought they were weak, small, unimportant. Captain Aaron Cade leaned over the main console, eyes sharp, fingers tapping the controls. It was another ordinary day, or so it seemed. Suddenly, the soft hum of the station's communications system changed. A strange signal appeared on the monitors. "Captain, you need to see this," said Dr. Lyra Voss, the station's lead scientist. Her voice was tense. "It's not like anything we've seen before." Aaron's eyes narrowed. The signal was a series of sharp pulses, repeating in a strange pattern. It was almost like a language, but not any human language. And then, unexpectedly, it shifted, almost as if it was pleading. "Begging for help?" Aaron asked, disbelief in his voice. "Yes. But that's impossible," Dr. Voss said. "No civilization should survive here. The star system is too old. Everything here is dead." Aaron frowned. Humans had always been small players in the galaxy. No one would expect them to understand or respond to signals like this. Yet something about this one, it felt urgent. Personal. He leaned closer to the console. The signal blinked rapidly, sending more data than a normal distress call should. Coordinates, codes, and a warning. Hidden inside the pulses was a message of danger. Whoever had sent it had wanted only one thing: for someone to find them but survive the trip. "This is no ordinary signal," Aaron said quietly. "It's a trap or a test." The crew looked uneasy. "Captain, we should report this to command," Dr. Voss said. "This could be dangerous. We have no idea what we're dealing with." Aaron shook his head. "No. If command hears this, they'll ignore it. Or worse, they'll order us to leave it alone. And if we do nothing, someone, or something, will die." He stared at the blinking coordinates. The numbers didn't match any known planet in the galaxy. When he cross-checked them, he froze. The planet at these coordinates was marked as dead, abandoned for centuries. No life. No atmosphere. Nothing. Yet the signal was coming from there. The crew murmured among themselves. Some whispered about ghosts or old alien technology. Some worried about traps. But Aaron made a decision. "We are going," he said. His voice was firm. "No one else will. We can't ignore this." The station was quiet for a moment. Then the alarms started. Not emergency alarms, but subtle warnings from the sensors. Something, or someone, was watching them. Shadows flickered across the monitoring screens. Nothing they could identify, yet the feeling was there. A presence, patient and silent. Dr. Voss looked at Aaron. "Are you sure, Captain? This could get us killed. The signal, it could be a lure. We have no reinforcements, no backup. Nothing." Aaron's gaze was steady. "I've never been more sure. Humans have always survived against impossible odds. Maybe this time, we can save someone else too." He activated the ship's navigation system and entered the secret coordinates. The engines hummed to life, echoing in the station's quiet halls. The crew strapped themselves in, hearts pounding. Outside the windows, the stars stretched into lines as the ship began its jump to the unknown planet. As they entered hyperspace, the signal pulsed again, stronger this time, almost as if it were alive, guiding them forward. The sense of urgency was overwhelming. Aaron leaned back, eyes closed for a moment. He could feel it. The galaxy had forgotten humans, but humans never forgot. They never gave up. Suddenly, the monitors flickered. Shadows moved across the ship's sensors, shapes that had no explanation. The crew tensed. Something was following them. Or waiting. Or maybe, testing them. Aaron's hand rested on the console. "Whatever is out there, we'll find it. And we will not fail." The human ship plunged deeper into the uncharted system. Outside, the dead stars shone silently. Inside, the crew held their breath, unaware that this mission would change everything. The signal was no longer just a call for help. It was a promise of danger, mystery, and something bigger than they could imagine. And somewhere, unseen, something watched, waiting to see if humans could rise to the challenge. The journey had begun. The human ship Orion emerged from hyperspace, drifting above a planet that appeared lifeless from orbit. Dust storms swirled across barren plains and jagged mountains stretched like broken bones. The planet had been marked dead in every star chart, yet the signal that led them here continued to pulse faintly from its surface. Captain Aaron Cade stared at the monitor, gripping the console tightly. "Prepare the landing team," he ordered. "We're going down, but stay alert. Something here isn't right." Dr. Lyra Voss and 2 crew members suited up. Every movement felt heavy with tension. The planet seemed empty, yet the signal suggested life, or what remained of it. The landing was rough. The ship shook as it descended through thick clouds of red dust. Outside the viewport, the landscape was desolate, but strange structures glimmered faintly beneath the storms. Alien ruins. Towers and bridges, some partially collapsed, stretched into the distance. They looked ancient, yet technology hummed faintly from within. This isn't just a dead world, Dr. Voss whispered. Someone, or something, lived here recently. Aaron nodded. And they might still be alive, somewhere. The landing team exited the ship, boots crunching on dusty ground. The air was thin but breathable, filled with the smell of sulfur and metal. The faint signal led them toward a massive, collapsed city. The buildings were strange, angular, and covered in markings humans couldn't read. But the pulse of energy, the distress signal, was strongest here. Suddenly, a sharp noise echoed across the ruins. The team froze. Shadows moved between the broken structures. The wind carried whispers, or maybe voices, but they were distorted, alien, almost impossible to understand. "Stay close," Aaron said. "We don't know what's out here." As they moved deeper, they discovered the first signs of survivors. Small creatures trapped in energy cages, weak and trembling. Their eyes glowed faintly, filled with fear. They were alive but barely. Dr. Voss's face fell. "Millions, they're trapped in some kind of containment field. If we don't act fast, they'll die." Aaron's jaw tightened. Humans were never known for saving alien civilizations, but he felt a surge of determination. "We're getting them out. No matter what it takes." Suddenly the ground shook. Dust rose from the ruins as enormous shapes moved between the towers. Alien hunters, machines part organic, part mechanical, emerged from the shadows. Their red eyes scanned the horizon, locking onto the humans. "Captain," one crew member shouted. "We've been spotted." Aaron raised his hand, signaling calm. "No. We don't fight, not yet. We hide. We observe. We save the survivors first." The hunters moved closer, their footsteps echoing like thunder. Aaron knew the odds, humans versus thousands of years of alien war technology. The crew set up portable shields, guiding the weak aliens toward safety. Every moment counted. One wrong step could alert the hunters fully. As they worked, the energy cages began to weaken. The signal seemed to respond to their presence, pulsing stronger with every freed alien. It was almost alive, guiding them. But then a shadow fell across Aaron's path. A hunter had broken through the perimeter silently. Its red eyes fixed on him. Time slowed. Aaron reached for his weapon, but the creature moved faster than thought possible. A blinding pulse of light erupted from Dr. Voss's device, one they had designed only as a last resort. The hunter staggered, giving Aaron just enough time to lead the survivors toward the landing zone. The humans ran, hearts pounding. Every step felt like a gamble. Behind them, the hunters roared in frustration, striking the ground with enormous claws. The signal pulsed urgently, guiding the humans toward a narrow canyon, the only escape route. Aaron glanced back. "Hold on. We're almost there." As they entered the canyon, the shadows of the hunters faded for a moment, but the feeling remained. They were being watched, studied, tested. Whoever had sent the signal had chosen humans for a reason. And now, Aaron understood, saving these aliens would not be simple. It would demand everything they had, and more. At the edge of the canyon, the humans paused. Below, a hidden valley opened. Thousands of trapped aliens stared up, hope and fear in their glowing eyes. The team began the rescue in earnest, lifting cages, deactivating traps, moving quickly before the hunters could regroup. Dr. Voss whispered, almost to herself, "They believed no one would come, and yet here we are." Aaron looked at the survivors, then at his crew. "This is only the beginning," he said. "We risk everything for them or we fail." "And if we fail," he didn't finish. The thought was too heavy. The sun of the dead planet broke through the clouds, casting long shadows across the ruins. Somewhere in those shadows the watchers observed, calculating, waiting. And somewhere in the distance, the signal pulsed louder than ever, as if to say, "The real test has just begun." The hidden valley glowed faintly under the dim light of the planet's sun. Thousands of alien survivors looked up at the humans with hope in their eyes. But hope alone could not save them. The energy cages that held them were part of an advanced system, far beyond anything humans had ever encountered. Captain Aaron Cade stood at the edge of the valley, scanning the ruins through his visor. "We have one chance," he said. "One chance to get them out without alerting the hunters." Every mistake could be our last. Dr. Lyra Voss approached, holding a small device pulsing with blue light. This is our only option, she said. We can disable the cages temporarily. But it's delicate. If it fails, the energy field will collapse and kill everyone inside. Aaron frowned. How delicate? Dr. Voss shook her head. We have exactly 30 minutes. Not a second more. And the hunters, they are faster than we imagined. They'll be back soon, and they won't hesitate to destroy the whole valley if they find us. Aaron looked at his crew. Their faces were tense but determined. They had survived impossible situations before, yet this felt different. This wasn't just a mission for humans. It was a test of courage, trust, and cunning. We do this in teams, Aaron said. Voss, you and Torres work on the cages. Me and Hallen cover the perimeter. Anyone who panics or hesitates doesn't make it back. The crew nodded. Fear was there, but it didn't dominate. Humans had a strange quality. They never gave up. Not even when the odds were stacked against them. As they moved through the valley, the first alarm sounded, a distant pulse like a heartbeat but faster and sharper. The hunters were returning. The humans quickened their pace, moving carefully to avoid detection. The alien cages were enormous, glowing with energy that hummed and crackled. Voss placed her device against the first cage. Sparks flew and the energy barrier shimmered. The alien inside pressed its glowing hands against the cage, watching nervously. Hold, almost there, Voss whispered. Suddenly, a loud clang echoed from the ruins. One of the hunters had spotted them, partially hidden behind a collapsed tower. Its red eyes locked onto the humans. It let out a mechanical roar that vibrated through the valley. Move. Now. Aaron shouted. The crew split. Aaron fired a pulse gun not to kill but to distract. Hallen ran to guide the nearest aliens out. Voss and Torres worked frantically on the remaining cages. Sparks flew, the energy crackled louder, and the device began to overheat. One wrong move could destroy the entire system. Time slowed. Aaron dodged a sweeping claw of the hunter, narrowly avoiding being struck. Keep going, he yelled. Voss's hands shook, sweat dripping from her brow. Just a little longer, she muttered. With a final surge, the cages deactivated, and the aliens stumbled out, blinking in the light. They were free, but the hunters were closing in. Aaron turned to the valley exit. Everyone move. Go. The aliens, unsure at first, followed the humans. Some stumbled, weak from years of confinement. Aaron and his crew pushed forward, guiding them toward a narrow canyon that led to the landing site. Then the unthinkable happened. One of Aaron's crew members, Soren, stopped. His hand hovered over a small control panel. Wait, he whispered. I think I can. Before anyone could react, the panel emitted a pulse of energy. Alarms blared. The hunters paused, their sensors detecting the interference. Voss realized immediately. Soren had tried to sabotage the operation, revealing their position. Traitor. Aaron shouted, sprinting toward him. What are you doing? Soren froze, panic in his eyes. I had no choice. They promised me safety if I helped. Aaron shook his head. There's no time for excuses. He grabbed Soren and threw him aside. The hunters roared, closing the distance. The humans and aliens ran as fast as they could. The canyon's narrow walls provided some cover, but the hunters were relentless. Rocks fell as the creatures struck the walls in frustration. Dust filled the air, stinging eyes and lungs. Finally, the landing site came into view. The human ship waited, engines humming, ready for the escape. The aliens surged forward, some stumbling, some barely conscious. Aaron led the last group up the ramp and into the ship. As the ramp closed, the hunters reached the canyon, their claws scraping against the walls in fury. The ship lifted off, engines roaring, leaving the hunters behind. Inside, the aliens huddled together, safe for the first time in decades. Their glowing eyes were wide, staring at the humans who had risked everything to save them. Dr. Voss wiped her brow. We did it, but how many more will come for them? And for us? Aaron looked at the stars beyond the viewport. This is only the beginning. Whatever watches this system, it knows we are here. And it knows humans will not stop. Somewhere in the ruins, faint signals pulsed again. Not just a call for help now, it was a challenge. And Captain Aaron Cade knew one thing. The real fight was still ahead. The human ship Orion moved swiftly through the dusty skies of the alien world, carrying hundreds of rescued survivors. The aliens, weak and frightened, huddled together, their glowing eyes wide with awe and fear. The humans had risked everything for them, but the danger was far from over. Captain Aaron Cade stood at the viewport, watching the horizon. "We can't stop yet," he said. "The hunters are still out there. They'll regroup and follow us. We need to get to the safe zone before they find us again." Dr. Lyra Voss checked the ship's systems, her hands moving quickly over the controls. "The energy field is unstable," she warned. "If we don't reach the secondary relay point soon, the cages could reactivate, trapping the aliens, or worse, killing them." The atmosphere inside the ship was tense. Every creak, every alarm made the humans flinch. Some of the rescued aliens whispered to each other in a language the humans could not understand. Yet slowly trust began to grow. They followed the humans without question, understanding that their lives depended on them. Aaron paced the control room. "We need a plan. There's no time for hesitation. We move in teams, secure the relay points, and protect the survivors. Everyone knows their role." The crew nodded. Fear was present, but courage was stronger. Humans had survived countless wars, but this was different. They were fighting not just for themselves but for an entire species. The first relay point came into view, a ruined city half buried in red dust. The humans descended carefully, leading the aliens through crumbling streets and twisted towers. The signal pulsed more strongly here, almost guiding them forward. Suddenly, alarms blared. Sensors detected movement, another group of alien hunters emerging from the shadows. They were faster and smarter than the last, adapting to the humans' tactics. "Take cover," Aaron shouted. Humans and aliens scattered into the ruins, using every shadow and broken wall for protection. Pulse guns fired, not to kill but to distract the hunters. Sparks flew as energy shields deflected blows, and dust rose from the battlefield. Dr. Voss worked frantically on the relay device. "Almost there, just a few more seconds," she cried. Her hands shook, sweat dripping from her brow. The hunters were closing in. One wrong move and the entire rescue mission could fail. A sudden roar echoed across the ruins. One of the hunters had discovered the human's position. It raised its massive arm, aiming directly at the relay. Aaron didn't hesitate. He charged forward, firing at the creature to draw its attention. The hunter's eyes glowed red with fury, but it followed him, giving Voss the time she needed to activate the relay. The energy barrier around the aliens flickered, then stabilized. The survivors' cages remained open, but the hunters were relentless. They advanced, forcing the humans and aliens to continue their escape. As they moved toward the canyon, the crew noticed something alarming. One of the rescued aliens, a small creature with bright luminescent markings, lagged behind. It looked terrified and confused. "Go back," Aaron shouted. "We can't leave anyone behind." Without hesitation, he doubled back, pulling the alien into safety just as a hunter struck the ground where it had been standing. Dust and debris filled the air, but Aaron's quick action saved the small alien. The humans and aliens pressed forward, adrenaline pumping through their veins. Every step was a gamble. The canyon that had served as their first escape now seemed narrower, more dangerous. Rocks fell around them as the hunters pursued relentlessly. Finally, the landing site came into view. The ship's engines roared, ready for liftoff. Aaron led the last group of survivors onto the ramp, helping aliens who stumbled from exhaustion. One by one they climbed aboard, safe for now. As the ramp closed, a final pulse of light erupted from the canyon. The hunters roared in frustration, unable to reach the humans. But the threat remained. Aaron knew this was not the end, it was only the beginning. Inside the ship, the humans and aliens caught their breath. The aliens looked at the humans with newfound trust and gratitude. Their eyes, glowing faintly, seemed to say, "You saved us when no one else could." Dr. Voss wiped her brow. "We did it, but how many more will come for them?" Aaron stared out at the horizon. "We don't know. But we do know this, humans never give up. We adapt. We fight. And we survive. Whatever is out there, whatever watches us, it will learn that." Somewhere far above the planet, faint signals pulsed again. They were no longer calls for help. They were warnings. Challenges. Tests of courage and skill. And Captain Aaron Cade understood. The real race against time was far from over. He turned to his crew. "Prepare for the next stage. The survivors are safe for now, but we have to get them to a place where they can truly live. And we have to be ready for whatever comes next." The humans worked quickly, guiding the aliens through the ship. Outside, the dead world stretched endlessly, silent and deadly. Yet for the first time in centuries, hope glimmered there, shining faintly in the eyes of those who had almost given up. Aaron clenched his fists. "We've survived impossible odds before. We will survive this too. And we will make sure these aliens live to see a better future." The ship's engines hummed louder. The stars blurred outside the viewport as Orion prepared for its next jump. Somewhere in the shadows, watchers observed, calculating every move. But for the humans and the aliens in the ship, one truth was clear. Time was short, the danger real, but together they were stronger than anyone had imagined. The human ship Orion hovered above the alien planet, but danger was far from over. The hunters were relentless, their red eyes scanning the surface below. Captain Aaron Cade knew that the next move could decide the fate of hundreds of rescued aliens, and the survival of his own crew. Inside the ship, the crew prepared for the landing. Pulse guns were checked, shields reinforced, and every alien survivor was secured. Dr. Lyra Voss monitored the energy field surrounding the valley. "The cages are unstable," she warned. "If the hunters strike again, the field could collapse. We may lose everything we rescued." Aaron clenched his fists. "Then we fight. We fight to give them a chance to live." The ship descended into the ruins. Broken towers and twisted metal littered the ground, shadows stretching long and menacing. As they touched down, alarms blared. The hunters had found them. They moved fast, faster than humans had anticipated, and their weapons could tear through the ship's shields with ease. "Get the aliens out now," Aaron shouted. The crew rushed to open the ramp, guiding the weak, trembling survivors onto the solid ground. Sparks flew as hunters struck nearby, tearing chunks of the ruined buildings apart. Dr. Voss and her team worked quickly to stabilize the energy cages, ensuring the aliens wouldn't be trapped again. "Hurry," she cried. "We don't have much time." Suddenly, one of the hunters charged directly at Aaron. Its massive claws crashed into the ground, sending shockwaves through the ruins. The crew fired pulse guns, but the creature was relentless. Aaron knew he couldn't stop it alone. Then he saw the small alien he had saved earlier, the one who had struggled in the canyon. It stepped forward, glowing faintly. Its presence seemed to distract the hunter for a moment. Aaron realized something important. The aliens weren't just victims, they could help. "Now," he shouted to the crew. The humans and the aliens worked together, luring the hunter into a trap they had improvised with energy nets and debris. Sparks and dust filled the air, but the creature finally fell, immobilized. But the victory was temporary. More hunters emerged, surrounding them on all sides. Their eyes glowed red, scanning for weaknesses. One by one they attacked, relentless and deadly. Aaron knew what he had to do. "I'll draw them away," he said. His voice was calm but resolute. "Get the aliens to the ship. I'll handle this." "No," Dr. Voss shouted. "You can't." "I have to," Aaron replied. "It's the only way." He activated his personal shield and sprinted into the open, guns firing to distract the hunters. They chased him, their speed and strength unmatched. Yet Aaron moved with precision, leading them away from the survivors. Every second he gained meant life for the aliens. Back at the ship, the crew and aliens worked frantically. The last cages were stabilized and the survivors began boarding the ramp. Aaron's heart pounded. He could hear the hunters closing in. As he prepared to make his escape, one hunter lunged directly at him. He dodged, rolling across the ground, but the creature's strength was immense. The shield faltered, sparks flying across his armor. Then the small alien he had saved earlier intervened. It emitted a brilliant pulse of light, stunning the hunter long enough for Aaron to fire a disabling shot. The hunter staggered, then collapsed. Aaron took a deep breath. "Go," he whispered to his crew. "Go now." The ramp closed. The ship's engines roared, lifting off just as the hunters recovered. The aliens cheered, weak but alive. Dr. Voss rushed to Aaron. You risked everything." Aaron looked out the viewport, watching the hunters fade below. "It wasn't just me," he said. "Humans and aliens, together. That's how we survive." Yet even in victory the sense of danger lingered. Somewhere, far above the planet, unseen watchers observed every move. The signal that had led them here pulsed once again, not begging for help now but warning them of greater trials ahead. Aaron turned to his crew. "We've saved lives today, but the galaxy will test us again. And next time, it won't be this simple." The rescued aliens began communicating among themselves, their glowing eyes expressing gratitude humans could almost understand. Dr. Voss smiled faintly. "They trust us. They see humans as more than weaklings." Aaron nodded. "And we have to live up to that trust. We can't fail them, not now, not ever." The ship's engines hummed as Orion left the planet's orbit. Outside, the ruins stretched endlessly, silent but deadly. Inside, humans and aliens prepared for the next stage of their journey, one that would take courage, sacrifice, and a willingness to face the unknown. Aaron knew one thing clearly: saving lives required more than skill, it required heart, bravery, and sometimes the ultimate sacrifice. And somewhere, hidden in the shadows of the galaxy, a new threat waited. Watching. Learning. Waiting for humans to make their next move. The battle was won, but the war, for survival, for life, for trust, was far from over. The human ship Orion glided silently through space, carrying the rescued alien survivors to safety. For the first time in centuries, the aliens were free from the cages and the relentless hunters. Their glowing eyes scanned the interior of the ship, filled with awe, curiosity, and gratitude. Humans had risked everything for them, and they knew it. Captain Aaron Cade stood at the viewport looking at the stars. The galaxy stretched endlessly, silent and infinite. He thought about the journey, the impossible odds, the betrayal, the battles, the sacrifices. Yet despite it all, they had survived. They had saved lives. Dr. Lyra Voss approached, holding a small tablet that recorded the planet's energy readings. "The cages are finally stable," she said. "The survivors are safe. But the signal we followed, it's still active. Someone, or something, continues to watch." Aaron nodded. "Let them watch. Humans don't run from danger. We face it. And now we've shown the galaxy that even a small species can make a difference." The aliens gathered near the humans, speaking among themselves in their strange language. One of them, a small creature with bright luminescent markings, the one Aaron had saved in the canyon, stepped forward. It looked at him with eyes that seemed to glow brighter than ever. Then, in a sound humans could almost understand, it spoke. "We owe you our lives. You saved us when no one else could. The galaxy will remember this day." Aaron felt a lump in his throat. He was just one human, part of a small crew, but their actions had changed the fate of an entire species. "We didn't do this for recognition," he said quietly. "We did it because it was the right thing to do." Dr. Voss smiled faintly. "And that is what makes humans different. No matter how small, we never give up. We never stop fighting for what matters." The ship continued toward the alien safe zone, a hidden system where the survivors could rebuild their civilization. The aliens watched the stars outside the viewport, their fears slowly replaced by hope. And the humans, Aaron and his crew, realized something too: the galaxy would never underestimate them again. As they traveled, subtle signals pulsed across the ship's sensors. The watchers, whoever they were, had not vanished. They observed silently, calculating, waiting. The signal no longer begged for help. It issued a challenge, a test for the humans who dared to intervene. Aaron turned to his crew. "Whatever comes next, we face it together. Humans have survived worse. We've adapted, we've learned, and now, we've proven our worth." The aliens began to communicate more openly with the humans, sharing knowledge of their technology, their history, and their culture. They were a once great species, nearly destroyed by hunters and war. But now, thanks to humans, they had a second chance. Dr. Voss watched the interaction, awe in her eyes. "Captain, they trust us. They're willing to share their knowledge. This could change everything. The galaxy may never be the same again." Aaron's gaze returned to the stars. "They trust us because we risked everything. And the galaxy will remember humans, not as weaklings, not as pawns, but as something unexpected. Something unpredictable." Somewhere in the distant reaches of space, the watchers continued to observe. They had learned something about humans that no one else had: courage, adaptability, and the willingness to face impossible odds for the sake of others. And in the hidden depths of the galaxy, a new alliance began to form. Humans and aliens, once strangers, now united by trust, bravery, and the shared experience of survival. The galaxy might have laughed at Earth once, dismissed it as small and weak, but that time was over. Humans had made their mark. Aaron looked at his crew. "We've done what no one else could. But our journey isn't over. There are more lives to save, more challenges to face. The galaxy is bigger than we imagined, and now, we are ready." The aliens looked at the humans, hope in their eyes. The humans looked at the stars, determination in their hearts. And somewhere, in the vast, silent expanse, the watchers knew one thing for certain: humans were no longer a species to be ignored. The Orion moved forward, carrying life, hope, and a legacy that would echo through the galaxy. A single human, a small crew, had risked everything, and in doing so they had saved an entire race. The story of bravery, sacrifice, and unexpected heroism was only beginning. And as the stars stretched endlessly ahead, Captain Aaron Cade understood the truth: the galaxy had changed forever. Humans had arrived, not as weak observers, but as heroes capable of the impossible.